While we try to be as helpful as possible, this podcast should not be considered as professional or financial advice. It contains general information only, and you should seek out professional advice for your own personal circumstances before making any financial decisions.
Welcome back. I'm Julia.
And I'm Nick.
And I'm Matt.
And this is the Enthusiast Lab.
I like the music.
Cute.
Right?
It's quite fucking catchy. I
think
reckon
so.
it's a bit moody. It's a
Yeah.
little bit.
Sensual.
Yes. Wow.
Alrighty, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Enthusiast Lab. Today we have special guest Matt with us from Vida,
Master Matt.
to talk to us about timeframes, delays, and price increases.
I'm excited to do so.
Fucking oath. This is going to be a great episode
This
because
is a good one.
there's a lot of. This has been happening for so long, you know, in this industry for the last 2-3 years, especially when the grants came out post-COVID. So to be able to have someone like yourself on where you can actually lay it out from yourself being a builder as well as from a builder's point of view, how it all got affected and everything that comes associated, we can hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Yep.
Someone that's been affected and then laying it all out in layman terms today so we can just fucking send it and let people know.
Yeah. And I'm a client at the same time, so I've
Yes.
first-hand experience from both sides.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So, Matt, why don't you start us off by introducing yourself?
Yeah,
Who the fuck are you?
I'm Matt. So I'm the General Manager at Vida Homes. Been in the building industry for 15, 16 years now. 10 years at a fairly large project builder as a building manager. And then moved my way through to the very start of Vida. And just growing from there.
Yes, and now you're the GM.
Yep, that's
the
it.
big boss. Big
Yeah.
boss man.
Big boy.
Big boy.
Big
boy.
Okay, so let's dive straight in and let's talk about timeframes. So, what do timeframes mean?
Yeah, well, how do we start? So there's two parts you can actually look at timeframes. You can do the timeframe is based on when you first start your building journey and you're talking about getting to construction, or you can also be talking about the timeframes of your actual construction journey. So the moment your saw gets turned all the way through until you're picking up those keys. So in relation to what we're going to talk about today, we're actually going to talk about both parts, and more so because during the grant period when the building boom really happening at that was about mid to late 2020.
Yep.
Yeah.
All the way through. Obviously, in the initial stages when everyone came out, and this isn't just WA effect, this was Australia.
Yeah, and international.
Yeah, that's fucking wild. I didn't even think about international, but yes, we're in our own little bubble in
we are
in
very much
Australia.
in a bubble here.
But basically, what we want to go through is how the initial part when there was a lot of people coming in, so the administration was being affected, the price increases started happening, and then also the construction delays when everyone started moving to site. So where should we start, Julia?
Well,
question.
let's start with timeframe guarantees because I'm going to break it down as timeframes, delays, and then price increases. So let's talk about timeframes first, what they mean, and now let's move into timeframe guarantees and the guarantees that builders used to have versus what they are now post-boom, what happened during the boom and still feeling the effects of that with certain builders, not naming anyone. So let's talk about that and what we offer at Vida and et cetera, et cetera. So Matt, you take us off.
Matt,
Yeah, no drama. So at
you're
the
on the
moment,
floor, mate.
we offer a 12-month build guarantee
Sweet.
from slab down to practical completion. We have not once gone over that. We don't have a single build that's taken longer than that. Our average is about 8 to 9 months. We have had some out at 11, and we've also had some out at 7.
That's still fucking surreal, man. We're talking 3 years
Yep.
in this entire industry where everyone's being slammed with, timber delays, and which we'll go into, and all these other things. You guys haven't gone over 12 months.
No. We just hustled. Like at the time, as we've grown, we've sort of we've got a really, really good team behind us, and support from yourselves and others. And really, we just knew when there was an issue, we've got to hustle.
Yeah.
This is our reputation.
You got to try and find a solution for it rather than just going and blaming, oh, there's delays, there's this and that. It's roll your fucking sleeves up and let's find a way.
100%. And look, sometimes there's not much you can do. But yeah, if all of a sudden you can't get timber from someone, okay, what else can we do? Where else can we go?
Yeah.
What other options do we have? Can we change from stone to laminate or from tiles to hybrid? Will someone be happy with that? Will they not be happy with that?
Yeah.
Let's give them the choice.
Yeah,
definitely.
Sweet.
And I want to interject here and just say timeframe guarantees are normally only for the construction part of your build. So if you guys are tuning in just for this episode, listen back to our previous episodes where we talked about administration phase and construction phase that came out as a dual release. There are no timeframe guarantees for the administration side, I believe.
I actually think
we do. With Levita. I think they actually are able to do a guarantee for it.
Okay, I didn't know.
Again, there is going to be some conditions into it because you can't guarantee, for example, you won't be able to guarantee something if the land's not ready, if it's not titled, because it might be a month away or shit hits the fan, developer can't do shit, and then it's another 6-month delay on top. So
we're getting into that next.
Yeah. So there will be some requirements, but while we wait for Matt to pull it up. Basically, there are those opportunities we have been able to provide for clients that are able to build with Vida Homes. And we can go through that. Matt, have you found it?
I have. So we've actually got a 5-month slab down guarantee.
Oh, awesome.
But the biggest, and like you said, Nick, the biggest thing behind that is the land titled?
Yes.
How long has it taken to get finance?
Correct.
And then settlement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the last things we're waiting for to go to site is finance and settlement.
Yeah, sweet. So the way that would probably get structured, guys, like you will have had that info before about how the pre-construction phase is happening. So what would the ideal ideology with how that 5-month guarantee would work would be you pay your deposit, and once it goes through the system and it actually gets accepted as a job with Levita, as long as you guys are ready to go for finance, your land is titled with that and it's ready so that you can walk on this block. So you got to watch out. We have mentioned this before where some developers will issue a title on the land, but it's bonded. So what that means is it's not actually physically ready for another few months. So if your land's ready, you've got the address, you can fucking walk on it, take a selfie. That's a block that can be considered can be doable. And then you literally just go through a process. And you'll be able to do it. We've actually had quite a few of our clients go through with that guarantee, and they've smashed it.
Yeah, no, we've had some.
Wild.
I think our quickest to site is 3 months, maybe or possibly just less. I think it was 11 weeks.
Oh shit! Wasn't that one of ours? Because they had the
I believe they got finance approval within. I think it was 4 weeks of contract.
Yes.
Okay.
And as long as you've got finance approval, we know settlement's coming.
Yep.
We'll do all the approvals. We'll get it ready.
Yeah.
Let's go. We want to start.
Yeah, that was actually our home on Greenpoint Way.
That's what I was thinking.
Because they had that was one of our clients.
Yep.
Because they obviously had experienced the other bill going under. They had already settled in the land.
Yep.
We just had to adjust the contracts, get the approval, and then we just fucking shot that through.
Yep.
And they got the entire bill done as well. Like, it was wild. I think the whole thing was 12 months from start to end to completion. It was 12 or 13 months.
Yeah, we posted about them. Well, I'm about to be posting about them. We're recording this at the beginning of July, but this is going out at the end of July. So we would have posted about them in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, holy shit. So if you guys do, the Instagram is our home on Greenpoint Way, or just jump onto our profile and you'll see it as well.
Okay.
But anyways, go back to what we're actually going about.
Okay, so the timeframe guarantees we now have established. We have an administration timeframe guarantee.
Which is awesome.
Is a construction timeframe guarantee.
Yep.
And this does vary from different builder to different builder. And some builders offer 9 months, some builders offer 12, like ourselves, some offer maybe more.
And some are like, one of them was like 6 or 8 months. It's fucking stupid.
Well, timeframes wasn't something that we used to worry about.
Yeah.
So if we go on the way back machine before 2020, before COVID, before everything happened in the last 3 years, this was never a discussion that we've ever had with any builder timeframes.
No, I never used to have. Well, we never really had a big issue with title delays being so pushed out. Neither did we have about entire building construction timeframes, and we're talking things from 2019 backwards.
Yeah.
Because that's when what we're talking about. We've been in the industry since 2016, and obviously Matt's been in this for fucking ages. So
Wow. Matt just gave me such a loser. Excuse me.
So yeah, it's something that it's a new
concept.
It's not even a new concept. It's a new problem, a new issue that we've had to tackle and find solutions for it, and to be able to provide some sort of almost like a not a security blanket, but a bit of a reassurance to the clients.
100%.
Which is pretty wild. So let's go through some of those timeframes and how Vida's able to provide that. For example, that 12 months. Yeah,
to be honest, probably one of the biggest reasons for us being able to stay in that is our supervisors. Like we try and keep them to 20s, sort of in the 20s. Like that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Some of the builders out there at the moment have got 40, 50, 60 jobs per supervisor.
Fuck.
You can't supervise. You're just calling things up and nothing's ever going to be right. So we figured if we keep the numbers lower, they've got more time to spend at each job. They can make sure things are right. If something does go wrong, or not go wrong, but something needs to be pushed back or adjusted, they can be there.
Yeah.
They're on site. They know what's going on. And then same thing in the office. If we can see that we're getting busier, let's put someone on.
Yes.
Let's get another team member, or let's fix a process. What's causing us to start to lag, and let's fix it. Whereas, I think a lot of them, it's when you're so busy, sometimes people you stop fixing the problem, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, it just compiles on
itself.
itself.
It just turns into an avalanche of a shit show.
Yeah.
Now, we do know that the time frame guarantee does come with some clauses. And the 3 that we came up with is weather, supplies, and holidays. Could we talk about those 3?
Yeah, they're the main ones. And look, we've got them in the T's and C's, but again, we've never once gone over it without even looking at that.
Okay.
As much as there are T's and C's, we don't want to be coming back to them on every job. Like, we don't want to be like, we were 14 months, but we can take out 60 days for weather, and we can take out this and we can take out that. Like, we don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
It was in there just because that's what we did from day one. But we really don't want to be relying on T's and C's to get ourselves out of anything.
Yep.
Like, we want to be transparent and say, this is what it is.
So what about other builders that obviously use that as their saving grace almost in terms of with the timeframe guarantees?
Yep.
Is there anything else that you see? I do believe, if I remember from back in the day when I used to have these and provide them to clients, there was also ones about no more structural changes during construction because that could cause additional delays. This is the construction side. So a lot of it was weather permitted, available trades on site and things like that. So all of a sudden, a lot of these, 6 month, 9 months that you see, then they're not actually able to guarantee, or they'll go, yeah, we can pay you, we'll pay your rent for whatever, a figure of $400 per week up to a maximum of 10 grand.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, cool. So what happens after that 10 grand's done? You're just going to be stuck on a fucking 3-year build.
And you could, correct. You could go for another month, 2, 10 months.
Yeah.
And after that, you're done. There's no more money coming in.
Yeah, that's very scary.
That's something to think about.
Now, the next thing I wanted to cover was delays. I just read a sentence and realized I've already covered that sentence. So let's move on to delays.
Well, before we go, just with the time frame guarantee, like a lot of builders will, can offer them and the subjects. The one thing I'd probably recommend for people that are listening to it is look at what the average the builder's doing. So like, for example, with you guys, you have some T's and C's, but you haven't gone over 12 months in 3 years.
Correct.
During the entire time all this shit is done with every single one of your jobs.
Yep.
And it's not like you've just built 20 homes. You've done quite a few.
Yep.
So what I would say for everyone else that's out there is, okay, cool, they've got a 9-month, build time guarantee. But what are they doing on average? Have you guys gone on some social media sites? Have you seen some of the clients? Are they all in that same 9-month process, or are some of them at 2+ years and now magically there is a 9-month guarantee?
Yep.
So I would take all of these things into consideration before going, oh yeah, this guy's got 9 months, it's better than you. It's like, well, hold on. Like, for example, and I always explain this in our meetings about, when someone looks at Vida Homes or even our other builder that offer the same 12 months going, they're more than and correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, But basically, they're more than happy to give you the 12 months because they haven't fucking gone over it. So you guys have put those contingencies in place so that you are fucking covered. You know, like you were saying, your average is 8-9 months. Let's say 10.
Yep.
You've still got 2 months as a buffer just in case, and you haven't had to go past that. So you know you can deliver on what you're saying. There's
Correct.
no oh, I'm sorry, let me try and claim a few days. It's just fucking we can do it, and that's it.
Yeah. We don't want to be claiming days. We want to deliver to what we say we deliver, because that's our reputation. That's your reputation.
Yes.
You check out your clients on Instagram.
100%.
And like, yes, we know that sometimes there are certain delays. Some delays aren't avoidable.
Avoidable.
But in general, like, we know, okay, we've lost time here. What can we do to try and make that back up?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we know we do not want to go over 12 months.
Yeah.
Correct.
I don't want to have to be having the conversation with you in 2 months' time. Like, oh, yeah, we did have that one job go over. Like, let's not go over.
Yeah.
And we do everything we can
To ensure
keep that going. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
Yep.
Cool.
And if you guys have been watching or listening to us for a while, if you guys scroll back to the episode that came out at the beginning of July with Jared, this shows just how fast we do move, because he went from slab to lockup in 4 months.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Absolutely wild.
All right, let's move on to delays. So we know that time frame guarantees are a thing, and now let's move into what can actually delay the build and how we are trying to combat those issues. Matt, you jump in at any point in time. So I was going to go through the admin phase, the construction phase, and then things that affect both.
Yep.
So in the admin phase, we've already mentioned land titles can really affect the
That's
delays.
a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one in finance too.
Yeah, correct.
I'm sorry. Fuck. I'm excited. I want to be part of this conversation
You're
too.
always part of the conversation.
You're right. Land titles, we've probably never seen as many blowouts as we had. Not so much right now, but probably going back over the last 2 years. And finance delays. Every time there was an interest rate rise, it just got that little bit harder and that little bit harder for everyone to secure the approval. So if you didn't get it straight away, then sometimes it was 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks for the finance broker to then try and come up with another solution to get things across the line and to make it work.
Yeah, definitely. And I also have noted here, if the job has to go to planning, that can cause some delays.
Yeah. Planning is a pain in the ass. They have 60 or 90 days. Certain shires are really, really good, and they know that once it comes in, as long as we'll call them, we harass them and go, when's this getting out? When's this getting out? And some of them will pick it up straight away and approve it or check over it and go, yep, it's all good. And others will sit on it for the entire time and then come back to you at the last minute, go, oh, you got to change this, you got to change this.
Yeah. Fuck.
So we try to avoid planning wherever we can.
Just for our listeners, can one of you explain what planning is?
Well, planning is basically, it's the show of planning. So you have to go to the council sometimes, depending on it all comes back to your block. So whatever block you guys end up choosing, there will be certain zoning on it. And there's good zone, there's easier zoning where it's a little bit more lenient towards building versus older zoning where it's a lot more straightforward. This is what it is. And anything past that, if you try and push those boundaries a little bit, all of a sudden you need to go to planning, which is basically like a council division for where each block is located, where they need to go through and assess and go, is this something that we are happy to approve subject to this, and this. So the planning phase, that can happen quite often, especially when someone wants to go as big as possible on a smaller block and shit like that. Or sometimes, with zoning changing all the time and requirements, something that would have worked 6 months ago might not work now. So you might need to go and get that approved. So it's something that where you try and avoid, because there are fees as well. You have to go and put fees on, plus there's time frame as well. So, but a good consultant and broker will be able to advise where we're looking from the beginning. And from that stage, you should be able to have a bit of a brief discussion with that client to go, look, this might happen. And then once the builder checks it over, they'll go, look, we do have to go. We can't get past that. And we'll be able to advise, and you can make that decision if you need to do a few tweaks to avoid it, or if you have to go through that process and experience those potential delays.
Yeah, and from my understanding, each shire has their own planning division.
Yeah.
So City of Swan, City
Wanneroo,
of
Mandurah.
Wanneroo,
Wanneroo,
so
Mandurah,
all of them have their
Coburn.
own different planning division, and each of them take different amount of time each.
Some of them are way better than others.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely.
And some of them are more lenient than others as well with certain things. You can put the same design on that concept and go across all these councils, and some will be a bit more lenient and approve it quicker, and some will be a little bit more and they'll push back against it. It just depends who you're dealing with.
Which is why it's so important to choose the right block.
Yeah.
So the next one, or the next part, is during the construction phase. There's a couple of things that can delay us. So let's start with the first one, which is lack of materials.
Yeah, this one's been a fun one. And it's still going on today. Really, I think that the term a lot of people use in the industry is the pig in the python. You've got...
Fuck, I haven't heard this one.
Excuse me?
No.
Oh, this gets thrown around the office all the time.
Okay, no, go on.
So
Explain
you've got
this.
from earthworks
Yes.
through to handover, basically.
Okay.
And with the 20+ thousand homes or whatever we're building at the moment, it all started obviously when everyone was trying to pour as many slabs as possible.
Yes.
And then it went to brickies.
Yep.
And then it went to chippies.
Yep.
Now it's at cabinet makers, glazing, tilers. Like the front end now, like we've got no issue getting brickies.
Yeah, pouring a slab. We went on our construction run today,
Yeah.
drove by, there was a slab out of nowhere.
Yep.
Excuse me. Hello.
Like literally we went a few weeks ago and there wasn't even a construction sign and it's just like, poof,
Yep.
Slab.
here
Yep.
we go.
Yep. But 12 months ago, the issue
Oh
was...
my
or not
God.
probably 18 months ago, the issue was slabs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was... I don't think we ever had a main issue, a big issue with slabs. We've got a really good grano team, or two that do a lot of our work. But
I didn't notice a big brick issue with you guys either. I think the biggest delays we noticed on site was timber.
chippies, yep.
Yeah, chippies and timber. And that was, again, we're talking over the last 18 months, we've been collaborating together with Vida. Because by that stage, you guys had already got so many fucking bricky teams who were smashing it. But then the timber delays were going through, which we'll go through soon. But basically, there was a big, 3 or so months waiting from the moment you call the order that before it even arrives on site. And then you do get it, but then you're fucking trying to chase a fucking chippy because there's not enough of the guys.
Yep.
Because everyone's trying to fight for the same people and for the same materials all at the same time.
Yeah,
There's
true.
just physically wasn't enough people or materials.
100%. So at one stage, we were ordering timber
Yep.
before we put a slab.
Yeah, wow.
That's wild.
So you go back to normal time, you get to the end of brickwork,
Yes.
you got a bobcat might come through and do a bit of a clean, and then the next day the timber rocks up.
Yeah,
And you've
wow.
given them 5 days notice.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was plenty. We were giving them 3.5 months notice,
Holy shit.
which means we just had to plan as best we can because we don't want to push that out.
Yeah.
Like, we want the timber there because the chippies are hard to get, and the chippy's not going to lock in
Until
you've got timbers on site.
Yes.
So everything was about just securing those materials. And so we have a really good relationship with our timber supplier. And again, we were sort of growing at that stage.
Yep.
So we just kept in constant communication with them. And sometimes we were paying a hell of a lot more for material because we just wanted it there.
Yeah, yeah. It's at the end of the day, it's whoever pays most for it's supply and demand.
Yep.
Limited supply and high demand. Whoever pays the best is going to get the shit done.
Yep.
quicker.
Yeah, 100%. So you can't, it's not always just paying more, but at certain stages, you look at it and go, oh, these guys want another $4,000 for a timber load. Well, if we don't pay $4,000 now, in another month, it's going to be $5,000.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be $6,000. So
Just bite
a lot of the
bullet.
time it was, bite the bullet, get it done, move forward.
Yeah.
There's no point holding it up. It was only getting more expensive.
Yeah.
We just, again, we're hustling and we're just like, you know what, we've got to do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, sweet.
Well, that covered my next point, which is it was fixed, or you guys have managed it very well because you are paying the asking rate, you're paying the suppliers on time, and you're ordering them well in advance to make sure that the materials are delivered on time.
Yep.
Not a lot of builders out in WA at least are doing that, and that's where there's a huge delay on site that people are noticing.
Yeah, look, so we can't talk on behalf of all builders here.
No.
But what we can say is from what we're experiencing from our own, because obviously we've affiliated with many builders over the period of time, and some clients were having these delays. And it was something that Matt actually mentioned earlier on this podcast, which was your supervisors and how many guys you're taking on are limiting to a smaller amount of builds per supervisor, which is giving them enough time to actually spend the time to sort it out. Because as we've mentioned, and as people can realize, if you're dealing with 40, 50 homes, like as a supervisor, you physically don't have enough time in your Monday to Friday that you normally do it to drive to all the jobs, fix any shit that's going wrong, order all the things that are required, and to keep up with the pace. And all it takes is for one guy to be already at brick stage or halfway through bricks, and you've got this same 3.5 month delay like everyone else, that you're then waiting another 3.5 months, which can then turn into an avalanche of shit. Then I can't get the chippy, and then you can't get this, and then all of a sudden it just builds, and then holy shit, you're at a 3-year build.
Yep.
And those are the things where I believe, from all the discussions we've had, Matt, and with the construction manager Alex, is the fact that you guys are always proactive and you're always sitting down and going, cool, what are the next things that are really coming into a bit of a dilemma? How the fuck can we tackle this? When should we be telling our supervisors to be calling these things? This is the info we're getting, and it's a constant communication.
Yep.
It all comes to fucking communication when it goes from the client to the builder, but also internal with the builder to make sure that everything is, all those cogs are working and smooth and just operating as they should. And when there is something that might stick it up, it's cool, let's address it quickly before it turns into a shit show. So that's why with some of the other builders, because they had such a much larger volume and some of those guys weren't able to, the guys are doing as best as they could, and they might, and you know, sometimes the supervisor is trying to do what they can, but they're limited by the builder. They might not be paying the same rates, you know, to try and keep the costs down, which then in return means that they can't get the materials on time, or the chippies are going, you know, for example, we're just using chippies. This was happening across all the trades. They'll go, well, I'm getting a couple bucks more per square meter or per item with this builder, well, I'll just fucking go there. And, you know, we're going to go over this soon, Matt. But there was also...
my lack of trades is my next point.
Yeah, well, there was, but there's also the fact that, you know, I've heard and I've seen where there were tradies literally rocking up on site, and if the house wasn't big enough, they were just fucking leaving site, or if it was too complicated, just going, nah, fuck that, we'll wait for the next one. They're just pick and choosing.
Well,
100%.
let's move into trades, because that's really the next point.
Yep.
Lack of trades. In the last 3 years, we've seen or heard from lots of builders and lots of clients who are building that their builder can't get trades on site. So let's discuss how that's happened, how that's come about, and how Levita's combating that.
Well, can I start a little bit and then you chip in? So I would actually say that this has actually been happening before the grant actually happened, and it would come into the fact that you look at how things have been for the last 6, like for example, we've been in the industry for 7 years, and I knew a couple bits about how much some brickies were getting paid beforehand versus where it is now. And what was happening is it wasn't being worthwhile for a lot of the tradies, where they were actually getting paid enough to actually do the jobs for a lot of these builders. Matt, don't take offense. It's not obviously attacking Levita or anyone, but in general, what we were hearing from we have many mates that are tradies, and they were just saying the amount of volume of work that you're doing versus how much you're getting paid. Sometimes you're just better off going and working fucking up north, having half the year off and getting paid more than you were actually slaving away, laying bricks or fucking doing things. So what was happening is the reason why homes were so cheap before was because the rates were being cut a lot more with the tradies, which in return, over a long period of time, it's not very desirable work. Yes, it's cool to have a labour work, but at the same time, it's not, you know, the most ideal thing. So I think that probably started it, and then everything else that happened on top.
Yeah, no, I think you did right. I mean, you go back 6 years?
Yep.
4 to 6 years now. It was the quietest the industry had ever been for quite a while. The rates were the lowest they'd ever been. So really, the loyal guys who'd been around for a long time were still getting a lot of work.
Yep.
Not necessarily on a high rate, and everyone else buggered off.
Yeah.
They went up north. There wasn't enough work going around, and then all of a sudden, we went from dead quiet to an absolute insane boom.
Yes.
And these guys are up north. They're making comfortable money. They're not just coming back the next day going, oh yeah, I'll do this again. As some of the rates went up, especially like brickies in the early days, some of the guys did come back and were like, you know what, I'm going to go back on the tools. But not everyone. And even then it takes a long time for that to sort of happen.
Yeah. So can we just, for the listeners who maybe weren't looking at building or weren't in the industry or whatnot back then, could we compare what a brickie earned during the boom versus what they were earning maybe beforehand? Because they get paid per brick.
Yep.
And for rough comparison, a brickie pre-boom was getting 90 cents to $1.
Roughly for an internal.
Yeah.
And it went up to about $2.50.
Yeah, wow.
Some builders even higher than that in the boutique sort of world, but
Yep.
yeah, in the project sort of space.
So
about
that's
250.
per brick, guys.
Yeah. So it's more than double.
Yeah.
That's double and a half basically.
So when we
Wild.
start talking about the next topic, which is the price increases, that's one of the reasons why price increases happen.
Well, an average 4x2 home has about 13,000 homes. So you're looking bricks. Sorry, 12 to 13,000 bricks per home. So when you start thinking about it, an extra, when you're paying the brickie, for example, this is just one bit out of the whole thing that they've gone up from $1 to $2. There's 12, 13 grand before you fucking blink. And that was happening not even just, over a 6-month period. It was happening over weeks or maybe a month at max from where it started to where it just ramped up. So it was huge amount of difference.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. And that was the hard, I guess with the price, that was the hardest thing. It was trying to foresee where something was going to be. So if we're starting, if you're talking to a client and talking price in January, even if things go really well and we're on site in 5 months, and if times were normal, we're not at tiling stage for 5-6 months. So you're trying to forecast 10 months ahead. What's going to happen? Are trade rates going to go up? Are they going to skyrocket? Are materials going to go up? And it was really just trying to use all the experience that we've had from previous booms as to roughly what to expect. And go from there.
Yeah.
So the last thing I've got that can cause a delay in the construction phase is weather.
Yep.
So let's talk about how weather affects the construction phase, and let's talk about that.
Yes, I'm stuck in this at the moment actually. So I'm building at the moment, and the roof went on last Monday, and I was like, wicked, gyprock's going to start tomorrow, and I think it will. But a couple of days ago, we're just like, the walls are still soaking wet. So as much as the roof's now on, the walls have been soaking up all this water from all the rain that's been sitting on the slab. That's got to then dry out to give us time to put the gyprock on. Otherwise, you end up getting mold coming through. So I mean, the weather delays your slab.
Yep.
It delays your bricky.
Yep.
Delays the chippy. Not as much probably. It delays the roof cover itself. And then even, I think people sometimes think as soon as roof cover goes on, is sweet, we can keep going. But depending on the time of the year, that house has now got to dry out.
Yeah.
So last week here, we had a week of full sunshine. For jobs, if a roof cover went on the Monday, that slab is now covered, but there's no sunshine directly on it. So that house may take 2 to 3 weeks to dry out.
Wow.
Roof cover might have gone on some of those jobs on the Friday. So as much as roof cover's gone on later, it's had 4 or 5 days of sunshine and airflow to try and dry that out. So that job now might actually be 2 weeks ahead. Even though the roof cover's later.
Holy shit.
It's dry enough that the guy's like, okay, cool, we can gyprock this. We can't on the other one because we're waiting for the walls to dry out.
Yeah, and we're currently experiencing this exact thing with a couple of our clients down at Bideford.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because of that time frame of when it was done. But that's again, it's one of those things. It's by having that clear communication to the clients, going, look, we are waiting a couple more weeks, but this is the reasons why. You're better to wait the extra couple of weeks than to have those fucking boards on or whatever and to do your plaza and then to have shit go wrong later down the track. So hold off. But at least you know you're still going to be there. And the clients are they're like, yeah, cool.
Yeah,
no problem.
And I think a lot of people look at it though, and there's out of a whole wall, 3/4 or not 80% of the wall is dry. It's the very last row of bricks on the bottom around the slab where the water's just been soaking up that then causes you issues.
Yeah, right. Definitely. Now, there's a couple of things that affect both the administration and construction side. So the first one I've got here is organisation skills of the staff. So this is the administration staff and the site supervisors. We kind of covered this for a little bit before. Do you want to dive into that?
I think...
Nick, you just gave me such a blank look.
I did.
That didn't compute.
No.
1,500 pounds.
Computer says no.
No,
Matt, you can take this one for me.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a cracker of a team. Like they really are, and the A team in my eyes. Like we've got the experience. They've done it for long enough. We know the ins and outs. We know what's going to take time, what's not going to take time. Is the block ready, as we said before? And if the block's ready, what can we then do straight afterwards? Has finance been approved? Our system's really dynamic and really easy to change and to monitor. So like we track in our system everything. So we know when finance comes in, when the survey comes in, that then triggers other tasks for us to start. Our admin manager's always looking at ways to speed processes up, always trying to look ahead because we don't want jobs sitting in the system. Like we want to get clients to site.
Yeah,
we want to start building.
Well,
we're a builder. We're there to build.
Yeah.
Exactly. We don't want it sitting in admin.
You're not a storage facility where you're just sitting there.
Yeah.
You want the homes built, and at the end of the day, the builder makes money by building homes, not by having them sitting in the administration waiting for shit to get done.
100%. I mean, for a lot of our clients, we're taking $3,500 deposit.
Yeah.
In the admin stage, we're spending $10,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
By the time you get surveys, engineers, if you need planning, indemnity insurance, shire bonds. Some shires don't charge bonds. Others, there's $2,000 just to use the verge. All these other fees that we know that's just a part of building.
Yep.
Until we pour your slab, or until we get to that point, we're not making any money. So yeah, we want to start construction. We want to build.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
And it does go to show if the team and the builder work coherently together, everything will go smoothly.
Yep.
So the next thing is public holidays. So this is your Christmas, Easter, Anzac Day. Running out of ideas, and I got stuck on Halloween, but that's not one.
But even the simplest school holidays and shit like that, like it all affects that time frame and how everything else starts getting affected. But it comes into not as much into administration delays. I wouldn't expect as much, but more construction.
Definitely.
Definitely construction, because some of the boys just want to have that time off. They want to spend time with their family, with their kids, or they want to fucking grab the boat and launch it down at the fucking jetty and shit over the long weekend. And, that's the time to do it.
They don't want to be doing your bricks.
No, bricks are fucking cheapy, whatever it is. Sometimes people also, they are human. They are people. They also want to have that time. And sometimes they try and correlate their time off at that same point, which means that sometimes you experience some delays. But again, it's about mitigating those and finding the right team and tradies as well that aren't going to be taking the fucking piss.
Yep.
Like that's a huge one where, because a lot of the rates are a lot higher than what they used to be, I remember seeing during the peak of like the brick delay issues of the boys would start at like 6 a.m. They'll be gone by fucking 12 p.m. They'll then be working for a couple hours, but then, because, it should be right, fucking the amount of work that's out there and the rate that we're getting paid, you'll be fine. They're making the same amount for half the amount of effort.
Some of them are really smart, and you've got others
Absolutely.
that work in 6-7 days a week, absolutely busting their ass, and just banking it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's a huge one.
But yeah, no, the biggest public holiday is really Christmas.
Yes,
because in general, we just shut for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
we're done.
Yeah.
And then not so much like the last year, but the one before, because everyone was so burnt out from just an absolute insane year or two.
Yeah.
Some went for 2 weeks, some went for 3 weeks, some had 4 weeks.
Yeah, wow.
It was really all over. Like generally, it's reasonably consistent, but it was the other year it wasn't. It was just all over the place. So we came back after 2 weeks, but then we're like, God, this supplier's not. We can't get materials anyway. But yeah, Christmas and Easter and Anzac Day, because again, they're so close together. A lot of people just link it up, and there's another 2 week, and it's school holidays.
Yeah.
Yes.
The individual public holiday is not too bad, but yeah, those 2 times are massive.
Yeah,
it's those long period ones where it's like 3 to 4 days in a row, or within like 2 weeks of each other. It just you end up getting short weeks, which you might as well just fucking do nothing.
And that's what they do, and it's good weather.
Yes.
So why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
So the last thing I have here is the builder took on too much business, and keeping in mind that everything else that we just spoke about as a delay, times that by X amount because they've taken on too many homes. Builders got too greedy, they took on too much business, and now they just can't keep up. And that's the biggest delay that we've seen from other builders.
Yeah, 100%. I'll start with a little bit from this, and then you can jump in, Matt. So basically, I want to talk about the fact that like Matt had mentioned before, before this boom came in, it was a very, very quiet time. And many builders were struggling to try and get a couple jobs across the line to keep things, to keep the wheels turning. And as soon as this came in, there was such a huge fucking influx of people. But that also meant there was a huge influx of different type of businesses, from jobs in nice, easy in the States to more complicated jobs. Everyone came out for the grants. And what everyone saw was that all the builders just a lot of the time was just taking on whatever they could.
Yep.
And they weren't trying to mitigate certain, this is this is our lane, so to speak. This is what we know we can do really well with our team and we can deliver with our supervisors. Let's just stick to that. Some of them were going, I'll take a 2-story and I'll take a demo rebuild, and then I'll take another 10 in this estate, and then I'll do this and this. Whatever they could do, just fucking fill the books and we'll be fine. We'll hire more people, but there's only so many people to spread across everyone.
There's so many people you can hire.
Exactly.
Experience.
100%.
Yeah.
And there was also so many fucking startup companies happening at the same fucking time as well. Man, it's fucking wild. There's so many different builds that came in at the same time because they saw, holy shit, what's about to happen. So these things started happening, and then it just turned into a fucking snowball effect because, like we were saying, and what Matt had mentioned was, in the beginning when everyone started, in the beginning of when everyone started getting, was the biggest delay was getting contracts. And, because everyone was coming in trying to do the same time frame for the contracts to get to be applicable for the building grants, because they had certain deadlines.
Well, hold on. This is the builder's side. Let's hear from Matt for the builder's point of view.
Okay. I'm just saying, as a
got
consultant,
Matt
what
here.
we've seen. Fuck, sorry. All right, Matt, just fucking do the whole thing while you're at it.
Fair enough. Why not?
I want to hear from the builder's point of view. This is what our listeners are here for.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah. Look, to be honest, I think a lot of what Nick said was pretty much right, and a lot of it was not just the volume of work, but the right sort of work.
Yep.
Like, we know we are suited to new builds in new estates, and we're not set up to do house behind house, demo rebuilds. We've done it all before. We know how to do it, but we know that job, most of those jobs, you do need to go to planning. And you have other delays. Your site works might take longer, or there's just more research that needs to be done. And then all of a sudden, on top of that, you take double or triple of harder work. Your workload just explodes.
Yeah.
And before you know it, I think a lot of them just didn't really know what had hit them. And a lot of builders, I think, were really smart and took on what they knew they could deliver. And then everyone has just been caught up in the shitstorm afterwards. But yeah, certainly a lot of them weren't geared up, didn't have the staff, didn't have the systems as well. To be honest, the people are first, and then the systems pretty bloody quick behind that as to what you really need to get things done efficiently.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're all of a sudden taking on 5 times, 6 times the amount of work you've got, and you're running off an Excel spreadsheet, you're not going to have a good time.
No.
Yeah.
So we've come from that background before. So our after the right staff, the next big thing for us was, what system are we going to use to make sure that we can get this through efficiently? And if we need to gear up, let's gear up. Let's put on another drafty. Let's put on another estimator. Let's grow the team to start with, experienced people, and then after that, people who are coming up through the industry, if we've got the resources to teach them. But yeah, I guess a lot of builders probably didn't have the right people in a lot of those roles.
And they probably tried to use what they had as much as possible and really push out, with the volume that was coming in and stuff. And then if they had to, then they would try and search for additional, employees, or look at if they had to try and change systems. And sometimes builders are just so stuck in their fucking ways. This has worked before, so we're just going to continue on. Whereas, like what you've mentioned before with Levadas, it's very dynamic, and you'll adapt and change as needed. And if you do need to take someone on, have a discussion, boom, let's do it. It's not let's just see where we can go with this and then wait until the last minute, because that's what's going to cause potential further delays. It's just jump on it and fucking we'll sort it out.
100%. And I think that's what we did. We cut out the red tape. So I spoke directly to one of our managing director and said, and he was very open and said, if you need someone, put them on. Like, I'll leave the decision to you. And we'd look at it and go, you know what? I think in 6 weeks we're going to need someone. So let's look today.
Yes.
Let's not get to 6 weeks and then realize, oh shit, yeah, actually we do need someone. And now you've got to advertise, interview, find the right people. Like, do that early. Get onto it.
Yeah.
Now let's go on to the last part of this episode, which is price increases. So keeping in mind the delays and keeping in mind the timeframes that happened, the price increases all came into effect because of the other two.
Yep.
So I also want to note here, a price increase is not the same as a price variation. A price variation is like changes that a client has made to the floor plan or changes made during pre-start. So that's not what we're talking about. If you make changes or upgrades during pre-start, this is not it. What we're talking about are the price increases that clients have seen or saw in the past during construction or during administration, where they were hit with a lump fee to pay to continue progressing through the system.
Yep.
Did I summarize that right?
Yeah. So basically, it's not changes that you have done. This has happened for the last 3 years. A lot of people in Australia, across Australia, has been affected in some manner or form from many builders about a potential price increase, where they've sat there and said, oh yeah, your home price is going to be amended by X amount increase because of you might have XYZ, where it's a breach of the building contract where you haven't achieved certain requirements within the time frame, and then they pass it on, or because of suppliers or because of trades and blah, blah, blah. So we're going to go through that side. So it's going to take a bit of a chunk of it. But
yeah, so in a lot of the contracts, I guess there's a time frame in the contract from when it's signed for someone to get finance approval and generally settlement and the building approvals. So, and if once that time frame is up, then the builder can pass on a price increase if there's valid reason.
Yep.
In the last 3 years, there has been valid reasons, but also a lot of builders, and not all, there's a lot of people did this really well. Certain builders did not do this very well, and would keep their prices, I guess, really low when they're selling. It's easier to get the sale.
Yep.
And then on day 46 or whatever the time frame is, bang, there's 10 grand or 20 grand or 30 grand.
Yep.
God, I saw some 90 grand on Facebook. It's just like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Where do you get that kind of money from?
100%. And look, sometimes if your land's been delayed and it's been delayed for 12 months, and in that 12 months, especially right in the middle of the boom, those costs did skyrocket.
Yes.
And you can't foresee a lot of that. But it really, I guess you did see which builders were forecasting and trying to look ahead better than others. So we were always not trying to look a month ahead, trying to look 12 months ahead as best we could. No one could predict, well, I'm sure some people did, that Russia was going to invade Ukraine.
Yeah.
And that a bunch of timber, heaps of timber comes out of Russia. And all of a sudden the federal government puts a tariff on that. So aside from increases due to supply and demand, then there was also other increases being put on top of things. Shipping went up like tenfold.
Wow.
Like,
steel, steel. I remember steel was going up consistently, like every few weeks.
Yep. And again, so even like a lot of, I guess we've got a lot of timber in WA.
Yes.
But we still import timber as well.
Yeah.
All of those imports, instead of necessarily coming to WA, were going to America.
Oh.
Because they had a building boom, and the rate for timber over there was more than what we were paying at the time. So the ship just goes that way.
Yep.
Wow.
Instead of coming to us, it goes over there.
Halfway to Australia and then just U-turned.
Yep.
It's
We know
going.
at certain stages, like we know that some of the suppliers who'd have containers sitting in ports, and it's meant to go on the ship, and then it's going to be there for another month. And if you want it on that ship, it's going to cost you another, I don't know, double or whatever it is.
Wow.
With no notice, with no nothing. So a lot of that was hard to forecast. You can't predict that.
No.
But then as long as you were, and I guess that's where for us, speed was everything. The quicker we're going to be, the less price increases we're going to have. If we're taking 2 years to build, then our increases of just would double.
Yeah.
So I guess, it was all for us. It was about speed. Talking to suppliers, like we were talking to suppliers 6 months, 12 months out, about is there a whiff of an increase coming? Because if there is, we'll factor it in up front. Because we don't want to do price increases. Like that's not what our business is about. We want to go, this is the price, and we want to stick to it.
Yeah.
We did have to issue a few. It wasn't a huge amount. The percentage would be extremely low. But when titles did blow out, I think there was a couple of estates that blew out 6 months.
Yeah.
And in that 6 months, costs did go up a lot.
Yeah.
And I guess from a builder side, you can't bear all of that.
No.
We did nothing wrong. At the same time, the clients did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But
someone has to pay for it, though.
At the end of the day, I guess, yeah, exactly. Someone has to. The banks aren't going to pay for it, and sometimes it was because of bank delays. Sometimes it was because of land delays. Sometimes it was because of builder delays. But yeah, at the end of the day, I guess someone has to pay for it, and that's why we just did our absolute best to forecast ahead so that we didn't have to do it, and limit that amount. And if we did, we would make the call. We would have a discussion. This is the reason. Again, some builders were like, "This is the price increase, and you got to pay it today."
Fuck.
That's ridiculous. Like, and some people were saying, "We're not going to go to site until you pay your 10 or 20 grand price increase." Even on the few that we had to do, it's like, we're really sorry. This is the reason, and most of the clients were really understood it, and we're like, we don't expect this today. I couldn't come up with that sort of money.
No.
So unless you've got $1 million in the bank, like most people can't.
Yeah.
Like, look, you've got construction to pay that off.
Yeah.
Like, let's figure it out together. We're all here to work together.
Yeah.
Let's work out the best way to move forward.
I do wish we recorded this podcast episode way back when, because had the clients, or like Western Australian clients, heard this kind of information, and if the builders treated their clients the same way that Vida have treated their clients, I feel like there wouldn't be such an uproar in the market about building.
Yep.
So many people are afraid to build now because of what's happened in the past, because certain builders did not look after their clients like they should have. They did not communicate. They did not treat them like a human being. They just pass these price increases along and just
deal with it.
And a lot of the time
it
was an email. And I saw many in construction.
Yeah.
Your bricks are finished. Oh, actually, here's 10 grand price increase. I've heard of a couple of jobs where the clients were organising their final handover payment.
Yep.
And the price increase was coming up then.
Holy
Guys,
shit.
that's way too late.
Yeah.
So we did not once issue a price increase once we were in construction. If we did, and it was only a few, it was before we went to site.
Yep.
So we could have that conversation up front and figure it out.
And create a plan of attack together.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, I think, that why I love quite a bit of, working with Vida, sharing those same values about it's the client first, and be able to sit there and go, look, we've done everything we fucking can, and it's actually costing us X amount. We can try and absorb this much.
Yep.
I've come to the party myself. Developers come to the party and go, this is what's left. If you can do this over an X period amount of time, then we can try and work it together. But at the same time, it was one of the big discussions that me and yourself have had when we first decided that we wanted to collaborate with Vida, was about trying to find avenues, because the prices were still increasing in terms of materials all the time and everything, going, what can we do as a plan of attack so that if we're dealing with a client and their land is 2 or 3 months away for titles, in case it gets pushed out, could we put a contingency in place up front with the client to help cover some of those costs? And if it's needed, it's there. But if it's not needed, can we pass that back to the client by site? And at first, obviously, we were sitting there going, fuck, can we do it? And you sat back and said, yep, if we do it X amount per month from what we're assessing, we should have this as a safety net. And for the past 12 months, like the first 12 months we worked together, we were doing that with many of our clients, and many of the guys that are listening to us will know that it's in their quote. We told them up front, going, look, this is potentially what we need to have. You're best to have this up front so you know your worst case scenario. And if it gets approved and you know where it is, then it should be right.
Yep.
If not, if it's not needed, you might have something a little bit left over for your pre-start, or you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Do you know what I mean? So at least people know upfront where they're at, rather than having these discussions like what you're saying about actually having that. So that plan of attack to mitigate those big stresses. And it's still coming in now, but it's a lot easier for me to sit down with a client going, look, this is where your worst case cost is. We don't need to put those, as much anymore. But at the same time, this is where it is. If you're happy with it, cool. Then you know this is what the price is. This is what your time frame is. You know where the fuck you're at up front. And if it's the right fit for you with the right build and the right team, cool. If not, there's a fucking door. At least you know you've exhausted that option with this team. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
But yeah, definitely I think it's a really big thing that we really wish that many other builders had come up with. And again, some did, some didn't. And we can't speak for all, but we can definitely speak on, working with Vida for the amount of time we have and with many others as well. Being that dynamic and being able to adapt and find solutions rather than just simply, oh shit, we're in a shit time, we all got to cop it. No, we don't. There are ways around it. And honestly, I would like to see many other builders do what Vida's been able to do for the past 3 years where they haven't gone over 12 months. But there's been many times, and because a lot of the times I do check with Matt about sometimes with some jobs, and there will be some of the guys that have listened and gone, oh yeah, I've reached out to you, Nick, and you've said no with Vida. Because I'll send through, some of the jobs and you'll go, hey, look, is this within the scopes that you guys are willing to accept? And you'll sit there and go, look, I'd fucking love to, man, but at the end of the day, this isn't, we're not going to be able to secure it or be able to do it. You're better to have that discussion straight up so that I can have that discussion with a client and going, look, we can't do it. Maybe you have to go elsewhere rather than you take it on and then all of a sudden shit show happens.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We want to stick to our, like I think you said earlier, we want to stick to our lane.
Yeah.
And we know, like, your other builder, like, they're a really good builder.
Yes.
And they're in a completely different lane to we are.
Yes.
We don't do what they do.
Yes.
And they don't want to do what we do.
Yep.
So
it's a perfect marriage, man.
Yes.
It literally just goes from one to the other and going, if for example, if you guys say, hey, we can't take this on, all right, cool. Well, our other partner build that we work with, they love this shit. And if you guys really want that one and they're not happy with it, here we go. Here's the Vida. And it comes back to what we were saying about with Mr. Enthusiast is there's no need to have fucking 10 builders. Have the right builders that focus on like what Vida does, where they focus on what they are happy to accept, what they know they can do really fucking well and deliver on the promises, and let them stick in their fucking lane.
Yep.
Stop crossing all these builders against each other, fighting off with each other, because at the end of the day, something somewhere has to lose to be able to get cheaper, which will then be in return, you'll have to pay for it one way or another as the client.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. So all I wanted to close up with before we do our plug and our summary is builders often revise their base prices.
Yep.
So this is because of all the increases that we just talked about. It's a revision that you do that you start seeing regularly or start planning for, going, we know that timber's going to go up, or we know that this tradie is going to start asking for more money to complete the job. So that's why a client that signed up 12 months ago versus a client signing up now, it's almost pointless comparing the prices of the same home.
100%.
Because the builder since then has revised the prices that they are producing towards clients because of the supply and demand.
All of our rates, our trade rates are different. Most have gone up. Some are starting to come down, but what is coming down is just being offset by other things that are going up anyway. But yeah, things, and especially even aside from in the middle of a boom, things generally go up. We know that typically in, I think it's Feb, March, fibre cement's going to go up. It's going to go up 3%. And then in, I don't know, June, something else typically goes up 3%. And so you sort of factor all those in, going, you know what, I know that over the next 6 to 12 months, this is what's going to happen. And if it changes then it's going to affect jobs that we, I guess, come into the system from X date.
Yep.
And we, just use that to figure out where we sit. And we might go, you know what, we're not going to change our price for the next few months. All of a sudden, come whenever, this one's actually going to be a big one.
Yeah.
Now we need to adjust
Let's revise the base
now we
price
need to
list.
adjust.
Because I don't want to be doing that every month. It's
No.
a fucking lot of work.
You know what? I really dread when you guys send through the price update, not because it's a price update, but because I then have to input all of that information into our spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Nick just sits there and goes, I need this done by 2:00.
Yep.
He doesn't do anything other than get the revised price list.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there typing away.
I'm the face of the company. I'm the one that has to look pretty.
You know what I've realised doing this?
What?
Fuck, this is just a lot of tangents.
Yeah, it is.
We start somewhere and we go somewhere else.
Yeah, would you believe we've been recording for almost an hour?
Shit, yeah, okay.
I do have one question, and I know I get challenged this a lot with clients always reaching out and asking this $1 million question.
Mm-hmm.
Will the cost of houses ever go down?
Oh God, this is a question that comes up daily.
That's a good question.
Can you
I don't know.
can you please look into your crystal ball and see? Look,
Look, I don't think things will go back to what they were.
okay,
We were at the bottom of the bottom.
Yeah.
Like everyone was fighting for work. Tradies were getting paid the lowest in forever. Everyone was scraping for the last dollar off something. I just don't think it's going to happen.
yeah.
I think certain brickies rates have gone down from where
Yes.
they were at their peak. And as other rates go up, I think as the boom comes off that section of the build, then they'll drop a little bit. But I think there will be a new normal.
Yeah.
The old normal is not
exist.
normal. It's gone.
It's gone. And I think that's what I've been trying to explain to people as well is what, 5 years ago, this was it was 150K less.
It's
Yes.
irrelevant.
It's
Yeah.
exactly.
It's
it was
done.
It was, yes, and that's where
Well,
it stayed.
And I wish I had bought 5 years ago,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
Well, it's the whole thing of 15 years ago, they were 100K for a home. Now
Yep.
it's 400. Things change.
Yep.
Properties have gone up. Holy shit, the fucking cost of homes in Perth is now, from last one I checked, was in the mid 600s. And
The median house price.
Median house price,
Yeah.
mid 600s, aiming for 7 by next financial year. I remember when fucking Perth was only 420 for the median house price.
Yeah.
So even though the cost of building a home has gone up, but so has the value of all the properties as well with the demand. And then this is going a bit off tangent, but basically you look at the market of what's going on as well. The demand of homes are required in WA and SA in Adelaide. You've also got the fact of the rental shortage, which is so fucking bad. People are homeless. They need homes, and there's just not enough homes being built. We have so much migration happening over these coming years. All these things are going to continue with the property market and the demand for building. So why would builders, and guys, at the end of the day, you have to break it down to fucking simple. Why would someone drop the prices if there is a fucking demand for it? You
Yeah.
wouldn't.
And
It's
to be
just
honest,
simple business.
I don't in the majority of cases, builders' margins generally haven't gone up.
Yeah, okay.
If anything, they've actually gone down because they've been trying to cover all the increases along the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, what hasn't gone up? Fuel's gone up, groceries have gone up.
Living expenses have been fucking
again,
wild.
we're
Cars,
Yeah,
fuck.
we're building now, and so we sold our house but are renting the exact same house back
Yep.
while we're building. We just went from $570 a week to
Yep.
$700 a week because I had to extend it for 3 months to finish my build,
Yeah.
and gone fuck. That's ridiculous.
It is, and that's fucking wild.
You guys have to consider there is inflation that always happens. It's
Yeah.
a steady flow of inflation. What happened was COVID and a boom. It was this perfect storm that basically jet-packed the prices of everything well over the norm.
The grants. I'm
It
still
was-
going to blame the grants. Not the fact that the grants came out. It was needed to stimulate the economy. They came out at the same fucking time, and it was a lot of money.
Yep.
How could things have been done differently? Definitely. There's many bills that would fucking 100%. Were they still needed? Yes. But you know what? At the end of the day, no one could anticipate what
No.
we all have gone through. Man, I remember I came out of surgery because of the appendix.
Yep.
And I fucking woke up, checked my phone to 200 fucking missed phone calls because there was a $20,000 grant got released over I think that was the state grant that got released over social media by Mark McGowan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was just fucking out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was wild.
It was so. What I'm trying to get at is no one could anticipate, but everyone can find ways to try and deal with it. And there have been many bills I've gone under. They bit off too much they can chew.
Yep.
Didn't have the right. The way I've been brought and what I've been told is and tell me if I'm wrong with this, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
For a builder to be efficient and successful, right? You need 3 main things: speed,
Yep.
volume,
Yep.
margin.
Yep.
If you have
Where'd you
those
hear
3,
that?
hey.
Where'd you hear that?
From a little squirrel.
from a little secret squirrel. That's my secret squirrel business. So basically, and honestly, once I actually explained that, it fucking makes so much sense.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Generally 2 out of the 3. If you can do 2 out of the 3,
you're doing killer.
You'll be all right.
You'll be all right.
Yeah.
1 out of the 3, you're fucked.
Generally.
3 out of the 3,
you're
making hay.
really well.
You're doing good. So when it comes to speed, guys, it's not about trying to cut corners. It's about that efficiency, and which is, I'll take fucking Levita as an example. The fact that you guys are having so many different supervisors controlling your work and managing that workflow of 20 to 30, let's say, worst case, is mitigating that risk by ensuring there's enough efficiency so that there's less return work, less fuck ups on site, which in return means that things can be moved a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Along with your team, the size of your team and your processes. So that's your efficiency. Margins, I don't know what the fuck your margins are. But at the end of the day, I doubt they're going to be very, very different from most of the others.
Yeah.
And then the volume is you control the volume.
Yep.
You're not asking for every single Tom, Dick, and Harry. You control the volume and that workload, and then in return, it's being able to show how much growth it has been with Levita. And you guys are quite a bit of a tour of the town around social media and many pages, and with clients as well. That demand going, hey, we'd really like Levita or our other partner builder to do it because they are consistently showing that same repetitiveness of efficiently on site, delivering on their promises, and not passing huge, any price increases.
So I don't think we've done one in 9 months at least.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I'm the one that doesn't.
Yeah, and you're the one that doesn't.
If not longer. Trust me,
wild.
it's not something I want to do.
No
one wants to do it.
It doesn't feel good.
No. 100% no. Making that phone call when I had to do the few, and you got to make that phone call, like it's gut wrenching.
Yeah, you buy a bottle of wine on the way home.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't think I'm going to do a summary because I feel like we went through a real whirlwind of an explanation for 3 topics. But I hope that made sense, guys. I hope that you learned something new and understood what we were talking about.
Look, at the end of the day, hopefully it's given you guys some insight into it. I'm sure, and I'm going to put Matt on the spot here, but if you guys do want to hear, again, a little bit more in depth about certain parts of, with time frame delays or about other builders that have gone under, about how that potentially could have happened. Because, Matt, as much as, you've gone through different positions over the years, but you also registered builder yourself, man.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
yep.
So you've done and you've built homes for other clients before you got into, obviously, with GM.
I've been in a big builder, building a couple of thousand homes a year.
Yep.
I've built as a small builder myself, building 2 for clients.
Yep.
Now at Levita, building my own home. Like I've seen the journey from multiple angles.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it will definitely be, we might, drag it back out here again.
Yep.
So that, if some clients do have some questions that might not have been answered now, but it's a good starting point, guys. And it's all about that feedback, hearing it from you guys.
Phoning questions.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I'll throw Matt under the bus right now. If you guys have any questions that we haven't answered, email Nick, which is nik@mrenthusiast.net.au. I'll put it in the show notes. Send them through all the questions and we'll get Matt back onto the podcast and we'll answer all those questions.
And we'll smash them all.
Yep. Yeah,
I've just gone and thrown you under the bus now, but you're coming back.
Yeah, no dramas.
Baby, come back.
Yeah. Let's plug. So you can find Levita on
Facebook, Instagram, and our webpage.
Yep.
levitahomes.com.au. I hope that's right, Maddie.
Yes.
But otherwise, to be honest, through Nick.
Hey.
Nick fucking calls me every day. Always something. But no,
I miss you.
I know.
That's why.
But otherwise, through Nick, who, most of the time you know the answer anyway, and if not, come to myself or one of the team.
And if you want to build with Levita, you're going to end up. If you want to build with Levita, you can build with us and Levita because all the business goes to Levita anyway.
And you get all of our little perks on top, and you get everything with Levita. It's a win-win.
No, it's a really good partnership. I think we share the same values.
100%, and it's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And you can find Mr. Enthusiast on
Facebook, TikTok, Insta, websites, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and Google.
Hey! Yeah, I know. We got like a whole list here.
All the fucking socials.
Our
All
marketing
the
manager's
socials.
going to be calling me after this, going, "You missed all of these channels."
Well,
Maddie had a lot of comments last time.
Well, you can find Levita on Google as well. You can search
Yep.
them up, and you guys have
And
I think
TikTok.
we're on TikTok too.
Yeah, and
Yep.
TikTok and product review as well. So
Oh
there
yeah, I
you go.
forgot about that.
There
Yeah,
you go.
see?
So
You know more than I do.
Plug Levita
we'll
for you.
yeah, we'll plug Levita for you, mate. No worries.
If you guys can leave a review or a rating, that would be amazing. It really helps grow our podcast and get us out into the big bad web world. And just remember, guys.
We're not here.
To fuck spiders.
Woo,
Hey.
bye.